You are listening to Wicked Psychotherapists, a podcast where two psychotherapists show you that taking care of and learning about mental health doesn't have to be wicked hot.
Hi, everyone. This is Tanya,
Hi, this is Erin.
and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists. So, welcome. Today, we have an appropriately themed talk session regarding some Hallmark movies, or as you gave the term, made-for-TV romantic comedies, rom-coms, which I thought was pretty interesting. We thought because, by the time this goes out, it'll be around the Christmas holidays and a lot of people are drawn to Hallmark movies, and we wanted to dive into why do people like these movies so much, even though we know they can be cheesy, we know the way they're going to end, but what is it that draws us to these movies? So should we dive into it and just kind of jump in and take a look at it?
Yes, it'll be fun.
All right. Well, let's start by taking a look at what we like so people can just kind of get a sense of what we're talking about. Do we like Hallmark movies? What do we feel like we're drawn to with some of these movies, and any favorite themes or actual movies that you can remember? I know they're hard to distinguish sometimes, but I did want to, let's start out with just asking you, Erin, do you watch Hallmark movies?
I do. I don't know if I should admit this, but I actually even DVR them just in case I've missed them so I can watch them. But it's not like I have a particular favorite, or because I will watch the Hallmark Channel and Lifetime, and but it's just during that time of year. So yeah. What about
those types of movies?
Yeah. I'm not watching soap operas during the week, or I'm not watching that type of made for TV movie, not when it's not Christmas time. But what about you? Do you get drawn to it? Do you follow the hype
I don't actually. At this point in my life, I don't, but I used to. I definitely, and I can see the draw to it. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today, and why, some people I think maybe have a little bit of kind of, like you were just saying, like, but I don't do this kind of thing. There's a little bit of I kind of want to hide that I watch them. I don't see any shame in it. And we're going to kind of talk about, the reasons why people are drawn to it. I just I think maybe got away from it. I'll still put one on, kind of here and there in the background, around the holidays or so, just to kind of have that comfort and coziness and, some of the themes that we connect with and we want to see during the holidays. Do you in particular have any kind of themes that you see yourself being drawn to, or any, particular movies that maybe you can remember?
Yeah, I know the ones I don't really like, because we were talking, because there's some that are just so out there. If I see the descriptions, I'm like, nope, not going to watch this one, or this one's not going to end up on my DVR. But it's usually, like, okay, what is making her, because it's usually a woman that's going back to her small town. What is the premise? Did she just lose her job? Is her parent sick? Is she going to have to, those ones usually draw me more than if her and the boyfriend are fighting, or the fiance and she's trying to, I don't usually like it when she's breaking up with the boyfriend. I don't like those ones, or the husband.
Yeah. You don't like the theme of where there's like, it kind of has to be dramatic in that way. You kind of like it if it's more like, okay, this person's finding something again,
Right.
discovering something
like a
again.
self-discovery.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And again, I think that very much relates to some of the elements that we're going to talk about, some of the themes as to why we're drawn to that, and the, kind of, I think, connection to that, especially around the holidays with everything that's going on. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to talk about some of those themes and some of little bit of the psychology behind it, because that's what we do. So, but I do, even though I don't really watch them as much anymore, I certainly remember really liking the kind of, usually it's a, female character returning to her hometown. It's like a small town, and she's off in like some big high stress, high powered corporate job. And then she's like, oh, this is more me. This feels more like home. And she reconnects with like, someone that has also grown into who they are kind of thing. And so I think I similarly, finding yourself again, but being able to like come back home kind of thing. It just kind of feels comforting. Probably because of my own, as a lot of us do, we probably, have that kind of journey. I mean, of course, mine is nowhere near as simplistic, and it's not like I had some high powered job coming back home that I came back home to. But, just the premise
you
of
kind of
it.
lived the Hallmark movie then. Yeah.
In my mind, in the fantastical world, yeah, sure. But yeah, there's a comfort to it, right? Like recognizing our own themes, our own kind of, journey in that, and seeing that there's, that human connection there in the different phases of our life. Usually it is kind of a woman or, I mean, the ones that I'm thinking of are like, female characters are the main characters and they're like in their late 20s or early 30s kind of thing. And they're, something about discovering themselves. And so it's not like we're so far away from those ages that we don't remember that. So yeah, just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, back in my day. Yeah, no, but it's funny too because we were talking. A lot of the actors and actresses are probably not in their 20s or 30s.
That's true. That's true. And as you had pointed out, there's a lot of the same actors in these types of movies. Like I say Hallmark, but I really just mean like the whole genre of kind of this, made for TV kind of holiday-ish, small town kind of resolves itself with a nice, neatly little wrap bow show or movie. But yeah, and some like you had pointed out, like, there's Danica McKellar and Candace Cameron Bure, like those are kind of recurring Hallmark Lifetime people that basically they play the same character in very different, not very different, but slightly different variations and environments. And which leads us to our next point, I think, in talking about, there is a draw to these Hallmark movies. I'm just going to kind of encapsulate it by saying Hallmark movies, but I need to face any of these.
I think most people probably associate those type of movies as Hallmark-esque movies or Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of.
But for sure, there's other channels like Lifetime and I don't know. I don't even know. There's probably a whole, like, I don't know, Netflix section of, I don't know, these types of movies.
I think they're great. I think I found that last year.
Yeah. I kind of want to check it out now. I'm actually kind of thinking, I'm like, maybe I should get back to this. I don't know. That might be nice for this upcoming season.
It's nice when, especially if you want to think of something that you don't normally think of. And it just really kind of, I don't want to offend everyone, but it's very brainless. You're just watching and I don't know. I just really like it because it's very comforting. And I pretty much know how it's going to end.
Well, no, actually, that's a great point, Erin, because, I think that's part of the formula. That's part of the draw is that you don't have to worry about there being some strange twist that's going to throw you off. You know that at the end, things are going to resolve themselves. It's going to work out. How that works out, maybe a little bit of a journey, maybe a little bit of a, up the hill to get down to the other side on the, in a roller coaster kind of thing, but it's not going to go upside down or do anything crazy. Right. But you're going to, get kind of a similar formula in terms of, there's some sort of issue, there's some sort of conflict, which is, made out to be so complex when it's usually kind of simplistic, maybe not too much, usually something most people experience and usually not in this like, all or nothing kind of black and white kind of scenario. And you're like sitting there like, okay, this seems like, lady, you tried to, I don't know, you tried to like kick a coworker or something and, you're needing time away from this job. It's probably best to move back home and find a less stressful job. Not that that's ever happened on one of these movies, right. But, kind of very obvious things that are pointing towards burnout or something.
Yeah, it usually is that they have that sweet job, that high stress job, something
corporate job,
something corporate-y where they have to wear really high heels and get stressed.
They're blazers,
Yeah, there's a lot of blazers and very high heels in these movies. Right? But I think that's what it is. It's like, oh, I'm going to just go back home to whatever that looks like. Yeah, it is usually some pivotal point.
Yeah. And the point that used to really that I started to get bothered about these movies, and this is my own crap coming in here, like it's just my own junk, is that I used to think, wow, like when if I had issues or stressors, if I had this nice home to come home to and, this ability to be able to have, a place to stay, somewhere to have support and to have a different option. I mean, that sounds pretty great to me, but that's not necessarily the case for a lot of people at really any age, and I think I used to get really frustrated with that, feeling like that's not a safety net I ever really had, and it would start to anger me. Honestly, I was just like, this is so unrealistic. And so, there's all these like safety nets in place for these people. And you understand this too, right? Like there's kind of some people have to stay in these high stress jobs or in this scenario that's very less than ideal and, day after day because you don't have supports outside of that. And I can't just come home to mom's, country house, which is worth 1.3 million, but it's like, oh, it's country.
Yeah.
So it's very, it's very, it's poor and it's less quality, which is complete junk to me. I'll take that any day, but
And your mom most likely is wearing an apron because
I can't even picture that. Yeah.
yeah,
And she's just ready to help you solve your problems. And
yeah,
she's,
It's-
just there. I don't know. Maybe people have families like this. I don't.
don't
This is
believe-
like insane
there's-
to me.
there's no cigarette or
And there's like actual like concern and energy being directed at you. And like, they have time for that. They're not like constantly stressed and in their own chaos. And yeah, no, it's, so my own bitterness kind of really piled into that. And I was like, I hate this. I'm against you now,
yeah.
I didn't watch them for years and years. And then I was like, after resolving that, I was just like, okay, I'm just not really super into it. Sorry, that was a total rant.
No, but it's really funny that you say that because I think they used to really aggravate me that point. And I think just within the past 5 or 6 years, I've really liked them and almost look forward to them. But it is funny because if I would have watched them when I was younger, like the age that actors are supposed to be portraying in their 20s to 30s, I would have been super annoyed because I would have felt similar, which I mean, still now when I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, yeah, would never happen. But have a safety net or have something like that or have to know, oh, yeah, I could just go home to my parents' huge bed and breakfast that now I have to, it's on 50 acres. And
I just have to swallow my pride for my parents to offer me this $1 million loan. I'm so sad.
yeah, I'm sorry they just bought me 6 bars.
Yeah. They let me stay at their place like rent free. Yeah, no, I'm so sad.
Yeah. And then, it's just, it is kind of like that part. I mean, I think that might also be the draw too, that it is so unrealistic for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. And I think it is kind of, there's like a fantastical fairy tale element to it where there's comfort there because I think that's what I figured out was I was like, oh, wait, nobody really has this. I mean, maybe there's some privileged few people that do. And like, that's cool, whatever, like you have that. But I think for the majority of us that if we are drawn to it, it is a nice kind of escape towards, saying, okay, there's, stress around the holidays, a lot of things kicking up with family and just events that you have to go to. The weather is not good if you're, in a part, I mean, for probably a lot of parts of the US now, actually, and it just, low light and everything. And, things just don't feel great. And so you want that pick me up. You want that feel good element, even if you're like, this is cheesy and unrealistic. It really is, suspending reality for an hour and a half or however long they are, characters that seemingly have these issues, but really, honestly, we know that they are encapsulated with all these buffers and they're going to make it through this little, kind of, what's that called? Like gauntlet of difficulties that are presented in this hour and a half movie and it's going to come out 10 times better than was ever imagined. And kind of gives us a little bit of hope like, oh, maybe it'll turn out for me, or maybe I can just kind of watch that and just escape with that for a little bit, even if I'm in a situation where it doesn't go towards that.
And some of the things, like, even though it is very unrealistic, a lot of the self discovery is a little more, I want to say realistic, but something that that people can relate to, because we all want to discover who we are and what we want. And I think that also is part of what draws me to it. Not only like the romance, but the finding yourself, finding your interests, finding who you are. And a lot of the components and a lot of the layers are really unrealistic for me, and sure for you, for a lot of people too. But I think that component of, oh, isn't that nice that she or he were able to figure out who they are or what they want, or, well, so they don't really want to live in Manhattan, but they want to, move to Vermont or New Hampshire or Colorado, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
And they'll have to deal with the fact that everything closes down at, 9 o'clock at night, but
yeah,
I guess they're moving on to that next phase in their life, kind of thing. Which you're right though. There's that phase of life, kind of like where you're, maybe settling down or going back to the place where you grew up and you decide where you want to kind of, stay, or do you want to, go and travel? Do you want to, kind of pick up and do a few more things before you kind of settle down, or are you not that type of person? Or, is it okay to be that type of person? It does explore these definite real themes. And I think we can, on a, like you said, deeper level, relate to. It's just the circumstances all around it that make it a little ridiculous and cheesy. Yeah, fair enough, right? I think that's the draw in the formula for it, and kind of saying, okay, this will work out. That's the connection. And then that's the kind of like the clincher, right?
Mhm.
Is okay, that's what draws us to it.
Right.
And it can kind of end up feeling like a little bit of a fairy tale, but with some realistic elements that could possibly be there. And I think a lot of people, I know we were talking, beforehand about, some people might feel a little bit. I know when I was younger, I used to like these movies, and I would never admit it ever, and like now I think people are realizing it's okay to like these things because there is some sort of connection to this. There is something there that maybe
Right.
we can see, and there are these like universal elements that we can relate to, even if it is cheesy and
Right.
quite frankly not maybe, top-notch acting all the time.
Yeah. It's
But
like the D or C list actors sometimes.
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of nice. It's kind of
Less
funny.
ego.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I think that, with this, I think there's probably a lot of people that do like these movies maybe year round, but we're kind of focusing on the holiday connection to it and what brings us to different psychological theories, like what do we think would be some of the connections that we do have, some of the theories behind the psychology of why these movies are seemingly so bad, yet
Yeah.
we still like them.
Well,
And
I think some of it might be that not only the romantic part, but because most of them have the family connection. So probably
Mhm.
finding who they are in their family unit, what their role is too. Maybe that's redefined now. Because sometimes they come back home and they have to help with the inn, or they're now helping their parents, whereas before they were the child when they left, or the teenager, or whatever they were. And now they're in a different role in the family unit.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that definitely, I think, is one of the different things somebody might identify with. It might help them kind of resolve and work through the viewer, might be saying like, oh, I can kind of relate to that. I mean, like, my parents don't have an in, but maybe I am the person who is, the take charge person or whatever, or I'm the person who is actually good at, figuring out the day-to-day stuff in my parents' business or just my own stuff, or, with the family kind of issues or whatever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Because in a psychological realm, so often in family units, we do have those roles, whether you're the caretaker, like, so that might stay with you, or it could change.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely if you've had, your big city job away or, whatever, as we all kind of journey away from our, where we grow up, or maybe sometimes we don't. Maybe we
Mhm.
stay kind of close by. Certain elements will change you, meeting different people, being able to interact in different ways, your career path, all these things are going to change the way you feel about yourself, the way you're projecting yourself on the world. And you may start to get different feedback about who you are as a person and realize,
Right.
wait, maybe that was very specific just to my family, and maybe this doesn't fit me anymore. And I also think that there is much like, in terms of psychological themes, I think there's comfort in knowing the formula. There's like, how we rewatch some of our old shows or favorite shows over and over again.
Right.
Like I watch, The Office, Big Bang Theory, Frasier, all those Golden Girls, like those are all my classics, comforts. And we know how they're going to turn out. There's no surprises, there's comfort in that. And it's the
Right.
same with a Hallmark movie. We know pretty much, like you said, you could join it, an hour into it and you know what's gone on and you know what's going to happen. And that is kind of nice. You're like, oh, let's see what the background looks like and what in they have or what family business they
Yeah.
have.
And it kind of also, I like too that it has the Christmas tradition. Sometimes even if you're feeling like, oh, well, I might miss my, actual family, but I'm watching this family unit on this movie, it might make me have different feelings, or maybe it has other viewers feel less alone or less sad during the holiday season.
Yeah, it's an uplifting feeling and connection with other people and kind of saying, okay, instead of feeling all these things that I feel, this is something that is giving a more positive vibe, has, something that is taking a different perspective on things in the way that this is how I would like things to be, knowing that, okay, it may not be, my reality may not be idealistic like this, but there are definitely some elements that I can appreciate that I see mirrored
Mhm.
in this, right?
Right.
And, that's really important because holidays certainly can be stressful, depressing, surprising if, certain traumas or things have taken place around the holidays. If they've just never really been something that have been a happy time for you, if you've just never experienced that, it can really be a time when people are having difficulties. And these movies can be uplifting and connecting and comforting. And that is huge. That is a big thing because, as therapists, that's what we hope for sometimes for some interventions for people who are experiencing depression or other difficulties, that may be related to long-term issues, chronic issues, or acute issues. So, and in a sense, no, I was just going to say, in a sense, it's an intervention, but not
I
really.
describe you six Hallmark movies. Cheer up. No, I mean, it could be a nice distraction from reality and for a little bit, and maybe it could be some talking points. So if you did say, hey, you know what? I'm going to task you because maybe you have a client who is very apprehensive or doesn't like the holiday season, and hasn't shared with you why. Maybe I'm going to task you to watch 2 or 3 Hallmark movies and come back and let's talk about how you felt after you watched them.
That's interesting. I've never used that intervention, but maybe I'll try it.
I haven't either.
I can't really think of anyone I would want to, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe I'll
if you
find
have
someone that fits
maybe
that.
if you have the Grinch as doesn't really like Christmas and you don't know why.
That's so funny. When you said that, I thought of my dad. My dad would have benefited from some Hallmark movies,
Oh,
but I'm
really?
pretty sure he hated them.
Not very
Yeah, my dad was a
realistic or
big Grinch.
not very Christmassy.
Yeah, he literally used to say "bah humbug" and loved
Oh,
and would cackle afterwards. He loved hating Christmas.
oh, so that was his identity.
Yeah, he was a grumpy person and, his exterior kind of personality, but I don't think internally. But yeah, so I mean, that might be kind of interesting, but I do think that there is definitely something there and we wanted to kind of touch upon, some of the elements and, let people know that not only are they not alone just in the holiday seasons, but they're not alone in feeling some
Yeah.
comfort from these Hallmark movies at all. That
Yeah.
there's definitely some psychology to it
Yeah.
and some,
And, and it is probably well thought out. Like whoever came up with this formula, just like whoever writes those Harlequin type of books, there's with the Hallmark movies, there's we laugh, but there's like someone from the city moves to a small town or moves some small town, meet somebody who has
frustrated with high heels,
yeah, yep,
and blazer.
gets their boots. It's usually rainy or muddy or snowing when they come home. There's usually a broken down red truck that they have to someone is going to help them. Maybe they have a golden retriever that
Oh yeah. I do like the golden
yeah,
retrievers.
they have to get the family Christmas tree. So those are usually maybe there's a party, but it draws you in.
It does, yeah. There's definitely a comfort there. And there's a reason why, because I think the formula is very, psychologically universal to people that maybe struggle with some of those things, and it provides comfort and connection. And so we're here to just show you that and to make that more transparent, that, hey, there's a reason why you do like those, even though you're like, hey, why do I like these? And these are cheesy.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, but
It's hitting
and there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting that.
Yeah, it's hitting on all of your heartstrings. And it knows too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if this person, maybe some people get stressed because of work. Maybe some people are longing for that family connection. Maybe some people want that romance. Maybe some people want to find themselves. So they're trying to find, maybe some people just like Christmas. So they're
Maybe
definitely
some people just
hitting.
want to work at their family's inn, and boots.
I know I'd like to go to my
Sorry.
family's $1.3 million inn or whatever it is.
I know, right? Yeah. Things would be just
In the mountains.
dandy. Yeah. But, so I think that, we wanted to talk about this. We thought this would be fun for the holiday season. But we really want to hear your thoughts on do you like Hallmark movies? Why? Do you have any other theories based around that? We're always, willing to
Yeah,
kind of hear that out, because of course there's probably other perspectives on it, but we just
right.
kind of like to have a conversation about it, open it up. So please let us know.
Yeah.
We're always willing to hear from you. We love to hear from you. So yeah. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wicked Psychotherapists, and on Facebook, The Wicked Psychotherapists.
Subscribe and
And
follow. Yeah. Subscribe, follow wherever you currently listen to podcasts.
yeah, leave us a
Write us a
review.
review. Yeah.
That helps out. We
Yep.
would love that. Or just,
5 stars if you want.
5 stars is great. We really appreciate it. It helps us to get this out there. People got to know about why they're drawn to Hallmark. Okay, this is important.
So share with your friends too.
Yes, share with anybody and everybody, whether they like it, they hate it. There's relevance here for everyone. I went on a bit of rant, so go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Maybe you want to share it because you too love Hallmark, or you don't.
Yeah. There's reasons for it. There's reasons against it, but I mean, you can't deny all the connections and the formula of why some people may find it comforting.
They're smart. They're smart. Whoever invented
The
this
Hallmark
formula.
writers.
Yes, whoever invented
There's
it.
a whole team of them, or maybe it's AI now. Who knows?
Maybe it's
ChatGPT
like
is
3
writing it.
people who do every single channel. It's just like
Yeah.
3.
Might be, or the same 3 robots. I don't know.
Yeah.
Same 3 AI systems.
Yeah,
They really could probably write. I would be curious to see what ChatGPT would write for, say, like, this formula for a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
That might be an interesting experiment. But anyways, so we're
On the next episode, we're going to be watching Aaron and Sydney's new Lifetime movie, and we will act it out for you.
oh my god, that would be awesome. And we have like mops as like wigs and stuff, and we're like,
Foods and
yeah,
Lucy. Yeah.
Lucy's running away.
Like, yeah. We'll just have like one of the old time video camera. Just recording that. Back to 1986.
That would actually be amazing. I like that.
Right. So we'll be on the road, guys. This is what we're doing. Next year's
our
Christmas.
next project. Well, anyways, let's close out here and don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well.
Bye, guys. We'll see you
Bye-bye.
next time.
Bye-bye. Have a nice one.